Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this, and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Entering Motherhood podcast. Today's episode is something that I've really wanted to record for a while, but now that I am officially a mom of three, we have our third baby here now. She was born in November of 2025, and we are living it. We're in it. We are parents of three kids officially. And so there's a lot that I've been reflecting on and a lot of things that I feel like are different this time around. And I really just want to kind of go through a few things that I wish I knew as a first-time mom and let this just be some words of wisdom passed down to you if you are a first-time mom or this is your second baby. And this is from a third-time mom perspective. And honestly, if you are first time, I wish that I could just sit next to you on the couch and hold your hand and walk you through this and just let you know that all the things that you're feeling and anything that you might be overwhelmed about, confused about, or just it feels like it's too much. Know that we have all walked through that, been there. And even if you are super excited, so ready to be a parent, there are still some things that kind of linger and exist and happen. And I think it's a lot of first-time moms that are just feeling it 10 times more than maybe second or third, or maybe you have 10 kids. But this time around, being a third time, I'm just seeing things from a different perspective. I'm a lot more grounded, a lot more intuitive, a lot more relaxed, a lot more, trusting of my body and my baby. And some of that might also be coming from the doula background that I have now, the experience that I've had in walking through this journey with other families. But I don't think you necessarily have to be a doula or work in the birth space to be able to be more calm and confident and just have more ease throughout your day as you are entering motherhood. So this is an episode that I am just super excited to chat with you about and go through some of the different things that I've been thinking and feeling, and how this pregnancy was different, how postpartum has been different, and just all the things I wish maybe I would have known the first time around or had the ability to know or experience the first time around. Okay, so one of the biggest differences this time around that I really want to point out and say, and, like I said, this doesn't have to be your third time experiencing this to get to any of these things, but I am really just enjoying the stages that are coming with this. Even though I was sick most of my pregnancy, I still thoroughly enjoyed it and really soaked in all of the different movements and feelings while I was pregnant, just feeling the baby inside me and going through all the different ups and downs and everything, and just trying to be a lot more present during the birth, which I really want to break down and talk about and have it be its own episode. I was so much more present and aware and into the experience that I can still very much vividly remember so much of it. And now during this postpartum stage, I'm just enjoying it. I'm soaking up the baby cuddles, and maybe it's because this might be our last, and I'm pretty sure it probably is. And I'm trying to just hold on to every little moment a little bit longer. But again, this can be something that you lean into as a first time mom, or just as you're entering this transition and into this phase and really just honing in on that and embracing it and trying to clear out any fears or worries or doubts that you can. And honestly, just as a first time mom, everything felt so big and new. And I didn't want to do the quote unquote wrong thing. I didn't want to miss anything. I was constantly wondering of all the should I be doing more? Am I doing too much? Should I do less? Should I do something differently? Is this the right way? Is this how I want to be doing things? I very much wanted to know as much as I possibly could so that I could be confident in all my decisions. And it was difficult trying to figure out all of those things so quickly because you probably think about all these things if you are trying to conceive or you want to be a mom one day, or maybe you have friends that have kids and you've thought about it, but not until you are faced with those decisions do you really work through them, even down to am I breastfeeding or bottle feeding? What kind of bottles? What kind of burp cloths? What kind of bassinet? What kind of sleep sack? What kind of pacifier? You name it, just all the different things that you could constantly think of. It's just a lot sometimes at first. And having now years to consider all these things, see all different options, go over all different scenarios, just knowing that I've had the time to really sit with it and soak it all in is something obviously you can't just snap your fingers and have, but you can understand and know that it is all slowly going to come to you as you need it. You don't need to know what kind of sippy cup and fork and spoon they're going to use when they're finally eating food when they're just being born. So while it's good to prepare and it's good to look down the road and it's good to have an idea of what all of these things might be, it's also nice to just be more present and in the moment and soak it all in. So, whereas with our first, I was worried about milestones and sleep schedules and all these different things, our second, it kind of dwindled down a little bit. We were like, well, he's going to learn to talk, he's going to learn to walk, like it's going to come. It's just a matter of when. And it took a lot of that pressure off of, oh my goodness, they're 4 months. This is what they should be doing, or this is their milestones and things like that. And obviously, yes, we want to be concerned about our baby's development and different things that they're doing, but we don't have to worry about them not hitting those things immediately or being first baby to do all of those things or whatnot. And it just, it helps take off that pressure from us and also our children. It already goes by so fast. Those little sleepy snuggles don't last forever. Obviously, you can still snuggle with your children. I still snuggle with our 6-year-old and our 4-year-old, but those little tiny newborn sounds and their little tiny fingers and the way that they curl up their toes, they're only so little for so long. And I know sometimes it can be hard to hear those things, or you're going to look back on these moments and wish that you were still there and things like that. And it's hard to see that perspective when you are in the trenches and a lot's going on and, when you're in survival mode and things like that. And I'm not trying to belittle that or say that that isn't true or say that that doesn't happen, but really just trying to savor those moments and slow down for a moment and try to be more present. So even as a first-time mom, I'm giving you full permission to just pause and enjoy your baby and not try to depict every moment and every schedule and every item and every milestone and every little thing that's happening, and release that control and release the need to handle it all and just sit and embrace the moment and relax. So while, it's easier said than done, it's just one thing that I wish I leaned more into with our first and our second. And I'm just fully embracing it and enjoying it with our third now. Another thing that I've been doing a lot more of now too is leaning into my intuition. I feel like, especially in our society, in our culture, here in the United States specifically, maybe elsewhere in the world, it's different. But in general, humans are just really falling out of touch with their intuition and leaning into what our own body is saying. And, with our first, I was always looking outward for answers. What does the book say? What does the app say? What's the chart say? What does this person say? What's that person say? I was always looking for the expert and the person who, quote unquote, knew more than I did for what to do and how to handle things. And while learning is great, if it's keeping you from listening to yourself and listening to that quiet voice inside, it actually can hinder what you're truly meant to do and how you should handle the moment and what can be done. And so now with baby number 3, I can really say that your intuition has the ability to get louder and everything else just becomes quieter and all that noise fades away. All the outside perspectives and influences and opinions of others really just kind of dwindles and you can kind of stand a little bit more in your decisions. And so instead of wondering, is this right? Maybe ask yourself, how does this feel? Instead of second guessing on different things, just check in with your baby and your body and really just follow your own rhythm and path and understand that you don't have to match up to somebody else's experience or try to mirror somebody else's parenting style, but you can lean more into your intuition. So I want you to know, even as a first-time mom, your intuition is there. It's real. It's powerful. It deserves to be trusted. And it's something that you fully have the ability to lean into and should lean into. Really just going along that same line, understanding that it's okay to let go of things that aren't working for you instead of really trying to fight it and force it can be a huge lesson. Whether it be the way that you're feeding your baby, the way you've set up a nap schedule or some sort of routine, your sleeping arrangement, any kind of baby gear or items or things in your house, any schedule that you thought that you would follow, a different plan or a method or a rule or a practice or something that you were like, I'm never doing this, or I'm completely gung ho on making sure that this happens. If it's creating struggle or tension or overwhelm, give yourself permission to shift from that sooner. We don't need to be struggling or staying in something that's not serving us anymore. We don't need to force a specific outcome. Obviously, things are going to be hard. Things are going to be difficult, and it's good to stand your ground. Your breastfeeding journey might be more difficult than you thought, but you really, really want it. And so maybe things in that situation, fight for it, but give yourself the ability to pivot earlier than maybe you expected and release the idea or that expectation faster. Because if you're worrying about it, if you're struggling, if you are causing yourself more harm than good, then it might be a good time to just pivot, go in a different direction, and find what works for you. So it's important to understand that sometimes we don't need to drag things out and try to fix them, but rather find our own rhythm and find our own way that works to save us the stress and unnecessary difficulties. So again, you really have to, if there's something that you want, it might be hard to get there. Having 2 unmedicated births now, I wouldn't say that was the easiest thing in the world, but it was something that I wanted. And especially this last birth, being at home, it was intense. There was a lot going on, and you need to push through some things. There's definitely some things that you need to work hard for. But if you're struggling and hurting yourself to get there, maybe take a step back and rethink it, because babies and your motherhood experience, it's all just constantly evolving and changing, and nothing is permanent anyway, nothing is final. And the faster we allow ourselves to adapt and pivot and change, potentially the more peaceful everything becomes. So, keeping that in mind and understanding that it's okay to change your mind. Maybe you originally said you were going to have one type of sleeping arrangement, and that's gone out the window, and now you're doing something different. That's okay. And you're finding your way, you're finding what works best. And when we have the ability to adapt and change more quickly, then we have the ability to figure out what works best for us more quickly as well. And I know, especially for me as a first time mom, everything just felt so urgent. Everything was so big. It just felt like I needed to have the answer immediately. And I felt like I needed to solve everything. But now, here as a third time mom, I'm not worried about tracking every little single ounce or how long each nap was or which side they fed last on. And if one way is right or wrong, like I was saying earlier, what milestones they're hitting, all the little tiny things that pivot and change, because some days are going to flow really beautifully and you're going to be like, all right, what did I do? Because that was great. They slept all through the night. Let's just try to duplicate that and repeat it. But other days are just going to be completely chaotic, and you could do the same exact thing step by step and have a different outcome. So, really leaning into that, being surprised, letting the day come as it will. Some days are going to push you to grow and test your patience. I mean, even here with the podcast, for example, I'm trying to pivot and learn and figure out what's to come. I have our youngest here now with me and recording some episodes. I'm trying to jump back into things and get the ball rolling, but things might look a little bit different and recordings might be a little altered, and you might hear some coos and some laughs and some cries and some sounds. And it's all about just trying to see what works and not sweating over the small things, and understand that it's all normal. It's all part of the process. It's all this human experience. And the little things don't need to take up as much of our emotional bandwidth anymore. And we can really let go of a lot of that stuff. And it just gives me so much more room for joy and connection and presence and just being patient and rolling with it and seeing what happens. So I feel like we have the ability to make those decisions and change our perspectives and alter how we feel in those moments. So just knowing that you have the ability to show up differently if you want to, and you don't have to be so stressed, even though it feels like it's inevitable. There is another way. And again, just with all that, I think this time around, it's really letting those routines just naturally develop, like finding a schedule that fits, that works around you, and laying that out and having something to stick to as closely as possible, but understand that wake windows and schedules and charts and expectations, we don't have to stick so closely to. And if it's causing us to feel like a failure or we're messing up or we're doing something wrong, then again, really just see what's happening naturally. You know, watch your baby, look for their cues, let things unfold, and try not to control the flow of it, because routine is beautiful. Structure is amazing. I love a good, spreadsheet and flow chart and schedule and things like that, but it's not something that you have to have be solidified, and you can create it one day at a time, and it's something that slowly emerges and you're just becoming more aware of. So just trust that it will come and trust that you'll find your rhythm and your flow and you'll get back to doing all those things that you love to do, but it might just look a little bit different. And again, just not hyper focusing on a bunch of those milestones or what's to come. I'm not living in the future anymore. I'm not waiting for the next thing to come. I'm not thinking, what's ahead. I put it on the calendar and I know that it's there, but I'm simply just meeting my family with where we're at and seeing how things go and knowing that milestones are going to happen, baby's going to grow as they should, and we can be leaning more into that intuition rather than outside opinions or what outside influences are telling us should be happening or could be happening. And we don't need to rush development. But if you do feel like your baby's behind or you're concerned about their development or you want to get them some extra help or you don't feel like things are going well, then yeah, like speak up and make that known. And we don't need to compare and we don't need to worry about every little thing. But also, if you feel in your heart and your gut that intuition, something is off or something needs to be further looked into or you're concerned about something, then definitely, yeah, bring that up to your pediatrician and let them know. Go to somebody who is an expert in that field and have their input, but then take that and use your perspective as well to make the best decision possible for you and your family. So, any first-time mamas that are listening, I just want you to know that you're doing it beautifully. You're learning in real time. You're learning, your baby's learning, you're growing, your baby's growing. It is all just this really cool experience that we have the ability to lean into. And you are the mom for your child. You are selected for each other, and there are lessons to be learned and moments to be had. And some days are going to be easier than others, and you'll look back on all your different experiences and just see the confidence that you're creating and the path moving forward into the type of mom that you want to be. And you don't have to wait for this day to come, and you don't have to hope that, I wish I could be more like this or I want to be like that. Like, just know that you are those things and it's just slowly coming. And so maybe it's, taking some moments to journal and say, what kind of mom do you want to become? And what do you want that to look like? And how do you want to be? And how do you want to show up? And what do you want to do? And then take little action steps in that direction to be more like that. But know that the present moment is a great moment to be in. Really just lean into your intuition, let things go, let go sooner, surrender, slow down, notice all that goodness and sweetness around you, and just remind yourself that you were made for this. You were made to do this, and you are doing an amazing job. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode brought you some comfort, reassurance, and maybe a little bit of an exhale, if you will, to just lean into who you're becoming and all the different things that are going on, and know what an amazing experience this all is to be raising children and being a mother and everything that comes with that. So I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.